Go getting to my page on the computer here so I can see what's up.
Getting to my page on the computer here so I can see what's up. Getting to my page on the computer here so I can see what's up. Getting to my page on the computer here so I can see what's up. Getting to my page on the computer.
Mute. There. I had mute the computer. I can hear myself, but now I can see what anybody says too. So, um, yeah. Uh, oop. Hi Shane. What's up? Um, yeah. If some of you follow me, there's old Tin Man, Bigfoot hunter. I ain't seen Bigfoot up there, but I've seen some big feet. some, I mean, bigger than Bigfoot feet. Some of these giants are 300 feet tall, and they're sitting in thrones up on the mountain. And Forrest Fenn has the two omegas in the back of his book there. The typical Clovis tomb at this area is an omega shape of arch of rocks, plainly man-made arch of rocks, and rocks arranged inside the people. There's whole families, pets, and there's 200-foot tall elephants or mammoths. They're related to Forrest Fenn's the tusk he found. If you go to the Fenn Gallery, his former gallery, there's a Columbian mammoth bronze statue by the pond in the back of the gallery. And that thing's about 25 feet tall with his trunk sticking way up in the air. And if you look at the ears, that's not an African elephant. That's not an Indian elephant. That's a Columbian mammoth. He could have, I guess it would have taken a lot more bronze to put great big tusks on it. But maybe it's a young Columbian mammoth. And then there's regular elephant over the other end of his pond. But that's why he gained an interest in Clovis stuff. Not only he found the mammoth tusk, he found flying around. He says he'd fly around in his airplane looking for caves underneath the rocks, looking for where Indians may have possibly used for shelter and stuff. Well, at the top of these mammoth tombs, where the temples are, what I call them temples, is there's just all kinds of. That's where most of the carvings are, right around the top of the mountain, and these are all terraces. So there's a top terrace. There's probably 5 terraces to get to up the 500 feet. So, but all of these terraces are kind of lined with elephants, and there's designs of people all over their tusks and trunks and in between them, and people hugging the mammoths, and it's amazing. So he has these 2 omegas in the back of his book. You think, well, one of these tombs is 1 omega, 2 omegas. It's 2 of the tombs, but there are thousands of them. So, it's a hat trick. Forrest is always changing his hat, always putting on a different hat, because they shuffle the hats around. Which hat is it under? So he gives you the symbols, what you're looking for, the omegas, and the guy holding the tombstone. I've found probably 30 or 40 of those guys already. And Forrest told me, yeah, you found the symbols, huh? But there were 40 of them, right? Yeah, there are. There's a lot more than 40 of them, and basically, the area is so huge that you might as well research all these tombs and document it, photograph them all. I've flown the drone up there and got some amazing. I got some real good shots with a new Sony Zoom camera, and it's undeniable. Those are human figures, and those are mammoth figures. I found tens, if not hundreds, of mammoths carved into the mountains. Definitely trunks coming, hooking down and curling up. And, you know, some people, oh, they're just rocks. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that statue of David, that's just a rock, too. Okay. And he's got a couple of rocks down there. I got my rocks, too. So I know what I'm talking about. You people that can't see it, you're just blind. You have an inability to see these things. You have no imagination how much erosion takes place in 14,000 years. You're expecting to see something pristine like Egypt that isn't as old, you know. But there's that when you look back and you apply a little blur to it to get all the roughness out and the overall shape. It's like, man, that's a big group of people, and then you look closer and you can see them. You turn up the saturation, it brings out the colors that they used that have faded away over 14,000 years. And so you start seeing the other colors and stuff. My next trip up there, I got to get some of the pumice mortar concrete stuff. They got covering most of the stuff, and there's shapes in that, even next to the worshipers that are kneeling on the head of the giant mammoth up there, worshiping in the what would it be, the shoulder, or it's like a shoulder. It's also a god figure, a man figure sitting there, and his big head's up there in the head of the mammoth. I found figures where there's a man inside the mammoth head. There's a god figure inside the mammoth, and they figure the mammoth is a man. It's a giant man. It's you know, it's got the wisdom of he's a god. The mammoths are gods. They're giants also. When they said they were giants helped them move them blocks. Yeah, you got something twice, 2, 3, 4 times the size of an African elephant. You can move some big stuff. So, and also you see the Indian elephant and the African elephant. The Indian elephant, its ears are in between the Columbian mammoth and the African elephant. The Indian elephant is half the size, or bigger than the African elephant. And so is it possible that the Indian elephant is a cross between the Columbian mammoth and the African elephant? These people were obviously communicating with each other. I found there's one guy, he's up at the top of the, right below the ledge of the terrace, and there's a head up there, and below him is a shield, or it's a helmet, and it's one of those helmets that come up and come down over the nose, and boop, you know. So there's just 2 omegas for the eyes. There you go, more omegas, you know. I have a 3D camera. I should get some. I have 2 3D cameras in case I got 2 of them in case one ever quit working. I still have one. So I got 2 3D Fujifilm 3D cameras, have lenticular lenses that should. But the videos that I got a new Sony camera, does 60x zoom, and I can get stuff from 200-300 yards away and get some real good detail with that. I just have to use a tripod because I got nerve problems, and so you know you're gonna get shaky video when I zoom in like that. The one video I posted, there's quite a bit of stuff in there if you pause it and look when it's not blurring. So yeah, I'm gonna go up there with the video and move the camera very slow across there. Let's see what kind of. Okay, does anybody want to know where warm waters halt? Or do they already know? It's a. He talks about his BB gun and shooting. He had a Red Ryder BB gun. Fred Harmon, who lived in Pagosa Springs, he wrote Red Ryder comic strips and was an artist and has a museum, the Fred Harmon Museum in Pagosa Springs, and it seems to have been kind of closed the last time I went by there. But there's a gypsy wagon out in front of there. The hot springs in Pagosa Springs is the hottest hot spring. I'm not the hottest, the deepest in the world. It goes down to 1,000 feet. They ran out of rope at 1,000 feet. So it's the deepest measured hot spring in the world. So warm water halts 1,000 feet down. I guess you need a 2,000-foot rope or three. Why not go with a mile long, 5,000-foot rope, man? You know, I know you can run. Why not just do it with fishing line? Put a good size weight on there and drop it until that thing hits bottom. So, but so you know, it ends there, and you find the gypsies on rocks, on cliff faces, not far from Pagosa Springs, and you read the book from the front to the back. You look at the pictures from the back to the front. The pictures will zoom you in to the target symbols. And that's why the first picture in the book, he's got his middle finger in his pocket. That's a blaze. The bird, he was a pilot, a bird. He's got the last picture in the book is the guy with his foot on the stump, looking up at the bird in the crescent moon. Well, I've found several birds in crescent moons, eagles in crescent moons, and some it's the one spot it's omegas, but they close off on the bottom, and there's an eagle in there, and there's a bullhead in there too. So, but these Clovis people, there are horses carved up there, and they've been extinct and reintroduced here. So, how long's it been since these people knew there were horses before they were brought here by the Spaniards? And you like my little thing there? Got the frogs on a log. Got to be the, if you want to find his treasure, you got to play the part, you know. You make your entrances and exits. Let's see whatever people see if anybody's got any questions here. What's up? Okay. Hey, I'm not 60 yet. Yeah, I've been attacked by one hawk, or it was a falcon. I was going on some switchbacks up a trail, up Silver Creek Trail, up Mount Yale, but he said he didn't go to Yale or Harvard, so I gave up on that. But I stopped at a switchback to take a break, and all of a sudden, poof, got swooped down by a hawk. I guess I sat down right underneath their nest, and they were screaming at me, and I got the hell out of there. But I tried to get a video of it. All I got was his wing and a foot in my video right over my shoulder. So, but I was wearing a leather hat and a backpack, so he could have got that. Numerical value has any impact. I didn't use any numbers to get where I'm at. I used the poem. I actually found the blaze by going there, camping at the blaze, and looking up the meaning of the name of the place. So that's how I found the blaze, and then I was able to go back to the beginning, figure out where the warm waters fault, where that was, and no place for the meek. It's 300 dead Frenchmen. There's 300 dead Frenchmen in Vietnam, and there's 300 dead Frenchmen in Colorado. Okay, there's a clue. And these 300 dead Frenchmen, there's 30 million in their gold missing in the same area. So there's a hint of Rich is old and Rich is new. His is new, theirs is old. So Spice story ties. Well, I don't know about his spice. I kind of skipped over the spices. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that might be the Clovis. I didn't think of the cloves. Think of the cloves. That's the only clue there in the spices. Yeah, you're right there. See, someone will mention something and it goes, "Yep, I can match that too." Okay, that's where that fits in. Okay, but I had to think about it because the spices. I was like, "What?" It's the Clovis tombs, and if you've seen on my Forest Fanatics page on Facebook, I put some of the Clovis art on there, and it's just amazing. The last rock I had, I call it the Rosetta Stone of the thing, yeah, my Rosetta Stone. But there's just all kinds of Indians on it. The one at the bottom laying on his belly with his hand reaching out, um, and I got to remember that what you seeing on my screen here is on your screen is reverse. I ah need my ventilator, my nebulizer there. That's why I have a little trouble getting out. I got lupus, and it takes me till noon most days to get my shoes on, get breakfast done. But and I was a camp host this summer, and I had to go around and check the bathrooms in the morning about 9:30, 10 o'clock, which was actually the best time to be out searching because once after you finished that, you headed out at 10:30, 11 o'clock to go searching, and that's when the clouds are coming and it starts raining. It's a total rainforest. That's why the area is so beautiful and green. And if you look at my video of Forest Fen Falls, that's only like that in the spring, like late May, June. The road didn't open till June 15th this year because of snow. So, it's quite a ways up there. When he said 10,200, he said 10,200 and that it was below 10,200 because he said to look quickly down from the blaze, and the blaze is at 10,200 feet. Both. You're looking at, it's below 10,200, below the blaze, below 10,200. So the blaze is exactly at 10,200 feet. and the blaze will not burn. It cannot burn. You could actually use the blaze to put a blaze out because the blaze is made of water. So it's a blaze only in the meaning of its name. If you look up its name, a blaze is bright. Okay, this is also something that means bright. I'll put it that way. It means other things that are kind of in the poem related to the title too. So, I'm not going to tell anybody flat out exactly where to go looking for these things, but I have pretty much, when I told you where Warm Waters Halt, I've given you the starting place, But you're going to find that this thing it could be 20, 30, 40, 50 miles from that starting place. But I've found just about all the drawings in the book. Even the one with his father. So I've got, I call it the Rockwell boy. The rock with him, and he's like this. But there's a little man reaching inside his head up here. So I found that Rockwell boy alone, but also about 3/4 of a mile from there, I found the art with the rock, and the rock has the side view of the glasses, his dad looking at him, you know, leaning over in the chair, everything. It's there in the rocks, in the art. And after I found the totem last year with the tombstone and the arrowhead and the Santa Claus reaching in his back, everything, you know, is all the, and I thought that was the big deal. Well, I read a clue. He said to think about where you began, and if you think about where you began, it's in the first chapters of the book. Okay, where did he begin in school? You know, so I went back to that and I traced that down. I read one thing in there that said, aha, because where I found the totem thing with the arrowhead and all that, this is kind of his Spanish toy factory. The Spanish toy factory, his story about him carving marbles under his desk and stuff, and making marbles and tops and carving rocks. What do you call that? It was an obsession of his to be carving rocks, and I found these carved rocks. These carved rocks are in a park, and that park could be called the Spanish Toy Factory. So the Spanish Toy Factory was also the school. And he talks about where he'd sit and watch the door of the school in his father's parking space. So I went by the door of the school and his father's parking space and started taking pictures of rocks there. I found the Alpha Omega, the forest fen, riding on the back of the dodo bird with his fishing pole hanging out, the string hanging down, and a big rock shaped like a fish with a hook in front of the fish. And so there's a fish on one side of the hook and a fake treasure on the other side of the hook. And I've realized that I've seen so many fake treasures. There's decoys everywhere. You're gonna go out there and, okay, one of the geese lays a golden egg. You go to the park and there's 1,000 geese. Which one lays the golden egg? I also made the cartoon with him at the one Fenbury standing there in the crowd. He's like 80 feet tall, you know, and there's all the fanatics around him, you know, and he's fee fi fo fum, you know. It's like he's the giant, and we're trying to steal his golden goose. So you got to find some magic beans and climb up his beanstalk. He talks about that Indian Quasha, whatever, you know, who was talking about the white man goes to church and talks about Jesus. The Indian goes in his teepee and talks to Jesus. He was referring to the Indian. They eat these hallucinogenic mushrooms and these peyote plants, and we're able to talk to God. We're able to talk to God. And when you eat them things, you're going to see the pictures in the rocks. Forrest said when he got out of the military, he realized that he had missed a lot of things. What was happening when he got out of the military? Yeah. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Woodstock, the hippies. He got into the art culture and met, I'll bet he met Andy Warhol. Did you ever meet Andy Warhol, Forrest? Did you ever meet Salvador Dali? That'd be a really cool one, because if he was into Salvador Dali, that explains this art in the field, okay? And you people that only see rocks, Get a metal detector and go to the beach. Give up on the treasure because you're not going to find it. Because you have to see the art in nature. And elephants are nature's treasure. Elephants are mammoths. They're pachyderms. You know, they're all the same thing. The Forest Space Story Ties. I already did that. What about when he mentioned, I wonder if my neighbor would be interested in, meaning he wanted to get rid of the last bottle of cloves in the kitchen drawer. Well, I don't know. Well, the cloves. He's hinting at the Clovis people. That's all that has to do. There's subtle hints. There's nothing that is bold and in your face. Yellowstone is bold and in your face. The beads and the bracelet came from Colorado. He's returned them to Colorado. People keep asking about Indian tribes, Indians, Kivas, and all these are. You're talking about things that are in the last 2,000 years, you know, and these Clovis people were here before the Ice Age. They were here when the mammoths were here. The mammoths have been gone for 12,900 years. Okay, so it's older than that. It's got to be older than that because the mammoths were here. And there's so many mammoth worshippers and huggers that I don't think that they hunted the mammoth. I think they hunted from on top of the mammoth. And that's why you find mammoths. You might find mammoths with near the points. Maybe they were hunting a saber-tooth from the mammoth. Maybe the saber-tooth incidentally killed the mammoth. And so that's why they found the mammoth and the arrowheads in the same place. You know, so it's all coincident. You know, the mammoth was probably, since they worshipped it so much, and they had a common enemy, the saber-toothed cat, I suspect they worked together, like in India. Mesa Verde. Yeah, the beads were found in Mesa Verde. So, but this isn't Mesa Verde. That's a national park. This is only national forest. And many areas in this spot, when I look at old maps, there are squares that aren't part of the forest. And the spot is kind of named after the mammoth too. So, but the mammoth is also an omega. They're the mega fauna, the omega fauna. I found a tree up at the top of the Mammoth Temple, and when I looked at it, I seen him holding the fishing pole like on the cover of the book. Once upon a while, on the cover, and the tree is like this, bent like, and then so I drilled, and the slope of the hill comes down like his fishing line comes down to the creek. And there's some spots in there that I noticed where there's a ladder that is clearly, but it's an art ladder. It's a ladder made of stone, made to look like a wood ladder. I don't know what the deal is, because these people made these monuments, and you know, people have been going by them for hundreds of years and never noticed them. I think somebody noticed them. The cabin I found up on top, about August, I found a cabin up there, and it's had dates of 1850s and stuff on it. That could have been where Brown was hanging out. And it's also, it's right there, right at the Mammoth Temples. So, and another reason you can, you know, you're thinking, well, you can't take it from a national forest or BLM, right? But when the state comes through with a highway, they have about a 250, 300 foot right away. And so basically he could have left it on the side of the highway. And if you find a bag of money on the highway, you can keep it. As long as it doesn't say Loomis Fargo on it and it fell off the truck. You know? And it's like, there's not a lot of places to park, so you're going to have to park a little off and then walk up. And it's not exactly where people would go exploring. They would go the other way, the other side. So turn around, it's right behind you, type of thing. Hunt for the mammoth, hunt for the heights, the blaze looking down. He was a pilot and hunted. Yep. If you've seen my video, there's quite a few mammoth sculptures up there. There's one spot. It looks like it's actually mammoth tusks, because it's a big loop, but they covered most of these rocks and things with a concrete mortar. So they may have put the mammoth tusks into their mountain carving and then covered it with a stucco, a pumice stucco, you know. So I gotta get up there and look. I got a new video. I posted the video of with my Sony camera. It's a little shaky and all, but there's stuff in there. There are faces in there, and then after I seen that, I got, oh man, I got to go over there and get a shot from that angle and that angle. And I have my drone video. I got my GoPro. I got a new GoPro. Got a new gimbal on the drone. It's flying right and giving me a live view now. The only thing is, I had one battery. I had three good batteries. The third battery, boop, took it up flying. It had full battery, should go 15 minutes. 2 minutes into the flight, battery 25%. It should still be at 78%, you know. So I had to return it. And when I put it on the charger said it still had 60%, but the drone is saying 25%. So, okay, so I put a red piece of tape on that one and don't use it. So I went out so I got my new gimbal and my new HDMI cable, put it all in a new GoPro, put it all on there, and took it out to fly it. Of my two other batteries, the second battery did the same thing, you know. So it was flying for like 4 or 5 minutes, and then it said, low battery, you know, and it's panicking. 25%. 2 seconds later, 15%, and 2 seconds later, 10%. And I was like, this isn't gonna make it back, because I was way out over the canyon, over the creek. Forrest Fenn didn't care. We didn't care about what? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't feel it on BLM land. No, it's not on BLM. It's not. And actually, where my search area, I know the Forest Service law enforcement officer, and he said, well, if you find it, you can keep it. I just want a picture of me and with you and the treasure to say that I know the guy that found it. Same with the sheriff. There is no... See, the thing is, this treasure means nothing to him compared to these Clovis tombs and the mammoth sculpted mountains. That's like finding King Tut, even older, okay? It's huge. And you're thinking it's like this. It's bigger than you'll ever imagine. This is like the Hiram Bingham of North America. And if you know archaeology, you know who Hiram Bingham is. And if you don't, you're going to go look him up. You know that, well, I just know a lot of stuff that you don't. So, you know, Gypsy's Kiss, they ignored 80-90% of my questions. They know I'm close. But free people don't let a government push them around. Free men, we don't tolerate that. When they wrote the Constitution, they gave the people rights. They gave the government laws to abide by. They're not abiding by their laws. Our rights override their laws. They can't take our rights away. They're given to us by God. So, you know, comes down to it. Person that finds a chest can take it down to Florida and hide it in the swamp. And then say, I found it, and never tell anybody where they went and hid it afterwards. And the government can battle them for 7 years. After 7 years, there's a statute of limitation because we're not talking murder. You go get your treasure. Yeah, you take it to Florida. I don't go down there much. My lupus, I can't tolerate heat very well. It's been getting down to 5 degrees, 10 degrees at night, and I'm living in my motorhome about 50 miles north of New Mexico. So I can be in Santa Fe in 2.5 hours. Treasure about this thing's about them Clovis tombs. It's a major archaeological discovery. It's forbidden archaeology. It's very hard to get somebody that can make it, that can verify it and all that. They won't even take a look at it because it doesn't match their storyline of history. These people were very advanced. You know, the girl's carved on the rock, and she's wearing shorts with a rope belt and a blouse. There's lots of naked sculptures, and people having sex on the rocks and stuff like that. It kind of like the drink. Let's see. Do you come up there? Have you searches too? I don't have a problem. You see, when I find it, this thing it's got to be on an exhibition, possibly the theme of a casino, and bringing in $200,000 a month on a contract. So it's worth a whole lot more than the contents of the box because of its provenance. You know, it's famous, so it's worth a lot more. Those coins are worth a lot more than their weight in gold. I got to get together these tombs and stuff. I got to get a permit. I need to get a permit, file for a permit, so that I'm registered as finding them, basically. And my name is, look, I've discovered this, and this is where it is, and it goes down, whether they approve it or deny it, it goes in the record that I made this discovery. Then, but to do this, I really, it's hard to get the permit as an individual. But if you're a nonprofit organization, maybe an archaeological research organization whose sole focus is these sites and the Clovis tombs and Mammoth temples, then this organization can bring in donations. And so therefore, without finding the treasure, can start, because you know, and even a nonprofit organization, the directors are you get a salary, you know, and I wouldn't need anything like look at some of the what is the guy Red Cross directors and stuff. What are they, $1 million salaries? Who needs that much, you know? If you can't live comfortably on 1 or 200,000 a year, then you got a problem. I don't come anywhere near that. I get no donations. I have no Patreon account, nothing. I don't donate to other bloggers who make more money than I'm not donating to a blogger that makes more money than me. You know, I'm nothing coming in this way. I got no help on this. I've got a major thousands, hundreds of square miles it covers, and one person can't do it. The tombs cover so much area. You got to find the right tomb that relates to him, and it's so vast that you can be searching these tombs for 20 years before you find it. The poem tells you to go to the drawings. The end is in my drawings. And so the poem leads you to the art in nature, in the drawings. And you got to find the symbols that lead you to the treasure. Take the drone higher up. And the drone only goes to 400 feet. And some of these are 550, 600 feet high. So I can't get up to the top shelf. I'll have to go up on one of the lower terraces and then fly over to the other one, because then I'll have a view of the terraces across the canyon. But they're I'm talking 4 mountains that are covered with tombs. This is a huge area, and I don't believe it's up on the side of the cliff. No, but I'm leaning toward one of them close to the road. So, but yeah, it's a large area. I need help. I've done most of the legwork, and so I'm not going to do no 50-50 or 40-60, you know. But I can, you know, make a healthy, you know, especially so certain percentage participate. Bigger reward if you actually do find it in my search area there. You know, much better. I mean, that's like partnership. You know, get a big chunk of that, 200,000 a month. But and also I need to make a documentary. I got some skills, but coming down to getting a final it's a lot of work. So I'm streaming over my Verizon, and I'm watching it on my internet connection on my computer. So my phone is doing part of it, and I'm watching the text and all that on the. Take a helicopter. Yeah. I've that's my other option. I got to bring my computer down to TV station in Denver and show them what I got, and get them to send me up there with their helicopter pilot and get some really good footage. And from there, it's Gobekli Tepe and Machu Picchu and big thing at the Denver Natural History, Denver Nature and History Museum. You know, it'll be very big with them. They found them mammoth tusks in Snowmass, but the mammoth tombs here are huge. And I took pictures of stuff far away with my new Nikon 24 megapixel, and those new cameras with the super focusing and the 300 millimeter and it's like, oh my God. 300-foot sentries either side of a palace entry, you know, like just gobs and hundreds of carved people. And I know some of the highway maintenance guys know about this stuff. But they keep quiet. Because you're crazy if you see that stuff in the rocks. You're not only crazy, you're brave, and you are in the wood. Yeah. So you have to be brave to go up against a archaeological society full of denial and ignorance. You have to be very brave. It's, you know, I made some really cool pictures of my peace pipe. If I don't know, I guess I could. My tablet here, I can pull some up. I did this art thing where you submit the picture in and you pick which way to how to change your picture to some very artistic format, like Renoir, or you can turn it into a Van Gogh, and stuff. But there's I found one that works really good with the rock carvings because it smooths out the roughness, and you go, wow, now you can see the people in it. It doesn't add things in it, but it takes the roughness out, and you can see the shape of the people, and they're more like statues. Just trying to find your gallery on different devices. It's got a different icon, and I got no photos there. There we go. So, see, I made these cool pictures of my. Tilt it up. So, yeah. Oh, go the other way, huh? Yeah, I like those. The stars. So, yeah, that's fun. So, you know, I'll make a fortune off the Clovis tombs and the mammoth temples, or I'll make a fortune off the off my art, or I'll find his treasure. I got 3 options. It's very something to do. Still not making progress on about 5 acres. Why don't I have it yet? I tell you, I've come closer than anybody else has. Nobody else has it. Nobody's proven I'm wrong by finding it somewhere else. Like I said, there are many decoys. The clues he gave us, there are thousands of them in nature, hidden in nature. It's a hat trick, a shell game. You don't understand what those are. I found all of his art. So anybody wants to deny that, double blazes. I've shown more than enough evidence. You're not following my Forest Fen Fanatics page on Facebook. You've never seen the pictures because that's where I put them. It's in a controlled place where I can get rid of people who like to call names and have deep doubts. You know, it's for fans. It's not for people who want to poop on other searchers. You know, I'm not pooping on my solve is just it just blows all the others away. You're kidding yourself if you think I'm wrong. I not only found beautiful, I found exactly what is drawn in his books. Find me one person who has found one of the drawings somewhere. Post that evidence. Mine is impeccable. And so I'm just not gonna take it. And I don't take BS from anybody. Somebody wants to call me a fraud, I'm going to call them a fraud. And you can't expect me to be a problem with that. I don't like my nerves rattled. My lupus eats at my nerves enough. And so if you try and rattle my nerves, I'm firing right back. My musket's loaded. You know, yeah. Oh, yeah, he had an artist say, well, do another one of these Rockwell things because this is what I saw out there. You know, it looked very much exactly like this Rockwell drawing. And yeah, the drawing in his book, the Rockwell drawing, and what I found in nature look very much exactly alike. And I've got him not only holding the tombstone, he's holding his first arrowhead there with it. I'm losing my set. Oh no. Well, hang it back up there. I got this blanket at Walmart. It's like a fleece, two-sided, and I use it because it gets so freezing cold here in the RV that when I go to bed, I need something wrapped around my head, nice and warm, and that's what I use. Up, dang thing! How am I losing my set? Here is falling apart. Okay, well, if it falls apart, you're just going to see stuff hanging on the wall like flashlights and stuff. I try to make it nice. That's my peace pipe. Story behind the peace pipe. My fifth great-grandfathers were Colonel James Rogers and Ethan Allen. James Rogers, his brother, Major Robert Rogers, he was played by Spencer Tracy in the movie Northwest Passage. The movie is called Northwest Passage because the second half of the book Northwest Passage, about Robert Rogers and Rogers Rangers, he petitioned the king for an expedition up the Missouri River to the Shining Mountains. From there, it's a 20-mile carry to the Ourigan River, Ourigan, which leads to the Pacific Ocean. Lewis and Clark brought my ancestors' instructions with them on their expedition up the Missouri River to the Shining Mountains and down the Ourigan Snake River to the Pacific Ocean. So, Forrest Fan, so I you know the 6 degrees of separation? Okay, Fenn follows Lewis and Clark, 1 degree. Lewis and Clark followed my ancestors, 2 degrees. Pink. So it's less than 6 degrees of separation. I use that also in finding hints. If you pick up a newspaper, there's one hint on the cover of the newspaper because you get one hint out of every 6 words. So there should be several hints on the cover. Just about any book, you open it up and you're going to find there's hundreds of words on there, so you're going to find a hint in one of the words. Things matches. Things are will present themselves when you ask your creator, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this, and he shows you all these signs that you don't see that are in plain sight. those signs are in plain sight in books, you everywhere in nature, and if you aren't able to recognize the signs that are in plain sight, and recognize the 6 degrees of separation, how is this related to what I seek? Then you're going to have more trouble. I'm able to do those kind of things, so I can see the signs in nature. I've said, okay, I've got a shirt with a bunch of stuff. This shirt, one of these words on the shirt mean, and it led me to, that one led me to some pinion kilns. So, you know, those were blazes, but that wasn't the right area, but it's still, because it made me think in another direction that I wasn't thinking before. Fenn was an archaeologist. He cares a lot about archaeology. Do you know where you go? 200 feet. Yeah, with the 200 feet thing, that works real good if you're playing The Legend of Zelda. There's only, how many choices can you make in each room that you visit in that game? When you're out there in nature, it's a whole nother ball game, especially when there are figures of bodies laying around everywhere. I've taken my 360 drone, flown up to the temple, and I decided to look down in the forest below the drone, and there are heads where the dirt's like this and the face is halfway in the dirt and looking up out of a lot of these tombs, the Clovis people and their tombs, their sculptures of their tomb, everybody was a King Tut. Tomb space was very hard to find because the hill's just plastered with tombs, and the best ones are the ones on top of the mammoth head, laying on their back, looking up at the stars. Most of them are looking up at the stars. I got the one with the Indian, and he's standing there with his hands like this, and he's looking up, and his princess, Barbie doll princess, is sitting in his hand, and she's got a big Indian headdress on. He's looking up at her and looking up at the stars. The reason these mammoth tombs and the Clovis tombs are up on top of the mountain is because this was close to their heaven, closer to heaven, up on top. I haven't found any skeletons. We don't know. If they cremated, you see the pagan rituals and they're burning the bodies. They may have cremated them all. They may have mortared them into the cracks. I don't know. Some of them, a lot of them look like mounds. They're round arches like a bed, and a blanket comes up, and the dead Clovis man in his tomb is just laying there in bed, resting in peace, looking up at the stars, looking at the heavens, waiting for the gods to come and get him. But, you know, this is people can't imagine what it's like to receive a message that was sent 14,000 years ago. It's like Forrest finding his arrowhead, you know. Back where you started because well, my ancestors, they started in Dublin, Ireland. They came here in 1726. And the English Catholics, the hardcore Catholic type Anglican, they lived in Massachusetts, but the Irish weren't allowed to live there. They had to go up. They settled in New Hampshire, and they gave them a place called Nutfield. My ancestors, yes, started out in Nutfield. I'm sure a lot of you like that. Why is it called Nutfield? Because there's a lot of nut trees grew there. Their houses were built from nut trees. I went to my ancestor, Reverend David McGregor's house a week before it was torn down, and asked to measure it and The guy wouldn't let me measure it. His name was Wise. He wasn't very wise. He tore it down anyhow. But I got pictures of the place and all that. And I republished Reverend David McGregor's The Works of Reverend David McGregor, 7 Sermons. You can find that book on Amazon. But Brown. Oh, what about Brown? Oh, well, I was just watching the Gypsy's Kiss, and they were mentioning it. Oh, don't bring up Butch Cassidy. Butch Cassidy and Albert Brown were they were in the same gangs, so to say. Butch Cassidy would hang out at Brown's Hole, which isn't very close, but you want to know where his hangout, where he was hiding, and this is below the place where Brown was said to be hiding. I did find a cabin up there. I mentioned that when I went up there looking. It's at the end of the rainbow. You got to imagine, what's a rainbow? What's a rainbow? Colors. Well, okay. What kind of colors? What state might hint of colors? That cabin's been there for 150 years. Yeah, the home. Okay, your book about your Brown ain't gonna last 150. Ain't gonna last 1,000 years. How do you keep nuclear power safe for 1,000,000 years? These tombs have been there for 14,000 years. They've stood that test of time. Maybe the Clovis people were the people he knew of as Brown. I don't know, but there was a Brown here. The Blaze is named after Mr. Brown, after his first name, somewhat. You'll find these tombs. The Clovis man, it's not just the Clovis man. It's the Clovis man embracing his Clovis woman. It's a family thing. There might be them and their children, and, some of these Clovis men felt they had to depict themselves having sex with their woman or with more than one woman. The 200 feet was somebody drove by. Somebody drove by it. You people haven't gotten that. You can be 200. Geez. They came within 200 feet when they drove there, but where they went and searched was 40 miles off. You know what I mean? So, they passed by. Yeah, you can pass by 200 feet. It doesn't mean a lot. It's very vague. He can say, somebody passed within 200 feet of where the treasure was. They passed within 200 feet of his vault. The treasure was in his vault. Somebody passed within 200 feet of there. It doesn't mean a lot. He could say things that are totally meaningless to the poem. He talked a lot about places that he wanted to distract you from, and didn't talk much about the place where it is. The Colorado clues are what are the ruins over there over by Monument, Colorado and stuff. My lupus is just felt like somebody just poured a bunch of cement on me. I'd need a shot of energy to stand up. I don't have a lot of that. That helps. But it's not Chaco Canyon. It's the one in Colorado. I can't remember the name of the place. Fades me. But, you know, he's got a few clues in Colorado. Not many of them. But he knew that guy, the guy, Red Rider, artist, comic strip artist, wealthy guy, just a 2.5 hour drive to go up and see him up in Colorado. He didn't talk about him till the last book. I posted a picture of Fred Harmon's Gypsy Wagon on my Forrest Fanatics back in May, I think it was. And nobody noticed it then. And then he mentions him in the book 6 months later, when it come out last month. There's Fred Harmon. He mentions Fred Harmon, and nobody puts together Fred Harmon and Pagosa Springs. It's oh no, just forget about anything relating to Colorado. You got to forget about that, because Toby told me that it is not, definitely is not in Colorado. Yeah, they hide anything I share with them. They hide. Yep, they just hide it all. So, man, when I try and, I'm discredited everywhere I go. Each clue is an exact spot on the ground, not an area. You forget, the people that are stuck on a poem and don't see in the poem that it says, the end is ever drawing nigh. The end is in my drawing. Yeah, the end's in my drawings. You read the poem, read the book, look at the drawings. Okay, who you read his book, you read the poem. Let's erase all the drawings from the book. Is that going to help you find the treasure? Answer that. Ask Forrest that. If you take all the pictures out of a Playboy, is that going to help sell the magazine? Was the treasure in the words, or was the treasure in the art? Simple. You people think that Forrest Fenn went to church? He says he doesn't drink. Doesn't mean he didn't drink. Maybe he doesn't experiment, but he said that he missed a lot of the treasures of life being in the military, basically. One of those treasures might be the altered states. He was very much into the Indians, wanted to know what they were into. You don't think that he wanted to know what the Indians experimented with religiously, spiritually? He says he's spiritual, not religious, but spiritual. The pics have nothing to, you people that are saying the pics have nothing to do with it, you're arguing with me is meaningless. You're not going to convince me of that. And all you're doing is telling me that you're in denial. You're in denial. You're in denial. You're in denial. I deny your claim to be of any value. Life, if we can, oh, the poem gets you to the place. The art helps you figure out the signs you're looking for. I got the Model A cow. I got the ZPU guns. I got the guy holding the tombstone, his totem, the kid curled up with the pie in the totem. I got the Rockwell boy and the father with the glasses in the Super Omegas. The Super Omegas just below that Rockwell boy in the poem is the eagle sitting in a crescent. And just below that are two elephants in the creek. And there are just so many clues. The helicopters are just down the creek from there. You gotta hang on 1 second. I gotta close my door. It's getting down 63 inside here. There. So, whew, yeah, it's cooling off. When it gets down to 60, I turn the heater on. So I try to get a little warmer since I closed the door. The sun's setting. Seeing it come in my window. Now, I found all the drawings. If you don't believe that the end is in the drawings, don't follow me, please. Go follow A Gypsy's Kiss. Go look in New Mexico. I'm looking for the treasure. I'm following the extreme, perfectly awesome evidence I've found in the search in my that that thing. I'm on the perfect solve. So because I found the drawings, I found the Model A cow in the wood. You had to be brave to ride with Skippy and be towed by a buffalo, to last through the buffalo, be towed through the wood. And I found the Model A cow with the 50. I took a 50 cal to the nose. The Model A cow has a 50 caliber hole in it. It looks like 50 cal. It's actually an exit hole, but it's a great big hole. It's bigger than my glasses, bigger than the lens. So, so the subtle hint was the 50 caliber hole in the Model A, and the two of them end up together there in the D of the word wood. It's right in the D. I mean, when you put all of this stuff together, I've got more than 9 parts of the poem, the book, the pictures, the clues. I've got more than 9. It's a whole treasure chest full of clues. And the trove it's a trove of art. His trove is the drawings somewhat. His trove will lead you to the treasure. So if you find his trove of art, it's going to lead you to his treasure also. It's very complex. There's lots of decoys. There's 30, 40 guys I found holding tombstones, just like he describes and draws in his book. I found the helicopters, perfect in nature, helicopters on the side of the hill. It's just way too much. Some of this art on the rocks, you look at it from one way, it's an eagle. Another way, it's a woman holding a dead brave. Another way, you look at it from another angle, and it looks like one of them Polynesian goddess faces, flat Polynesian face from one of their temples. But, this stuff all predates any other archaeological site that you've heard of. It's very bizarre. It wasn't the architect. What architect turned that mountain into terraces of Columbian mammoths? Can somebody tell me that? What architect did that? Don't I tell people I don't have any strings attached here and here and here. Okay? You don't nobody is controlling my search. I'm controlling my search. When you say throw the ball, John, throw the ball, does that quarterback ever listen to you? No, I'm not going to listen to you either. People like to be control freaks. They want to control other people and what other people do. Forrest doesn't like people telling him what to do, demanding an answer to his questions. If you really want the best way to get your hint on the treasure from Forrest is to ask him an unrelated question that he can hide a clue in. Because he says a lot of stuff, like he says when he was in Pompeii or whatever, and he started brushing away the volcanic ash. Some of these places, it's like volcanic ash in a slope going, comes, because to get down in this canyon, you got to go down a slope, go down this hill. And so that's why I use 2 walking sticks, because then you're like a 4-legged animal. You can get down it fairly easy. I think I'm comparable to 75ers, because I'm close to 60, and I got lupus, so I got some disabilities. I have a lot of trouble getting places. I lose my balance, and I got to be very careful. I'm not dead yet, and I've gone some places people have said you're living dangerously. So, it's not about that. What career did I designed long distance microwave network for Sprint. I built satellites that are floating in space, communications modules. I designed fiber optic networks for Time Warner. And I was an electrician. Electricians and map makers makes for great brain exercise. Because an electrician, you're basically making a map. You to follow a circuit through an electrical circuit, follow a wire through an electrical circuit from terminal A to terminal B. It's a lot like follow the dot, and electrical fiber optic diagrams. You got a fiber with 256 fibers coming into 324 count fibers and 248s and 156 count fiber, and these fibers they all go split off this way and that one out there. I had to manage all of Central Florida, all the fiber optic. In 5 minutes, if a fiber was cut, in 5 minutes, I could have a tester on that fiber line and know exactly where to send the truck to go fix the fiber cut in all of Central Florida. And I was always right. So, a gypsy, he's way off. Is a distract. It's not in New Mexico. I've just found way too much telling me I'm in the right. When you find all of the drawings, and there's no excuse for finding these drawings, and there's no excuse for not relating them to his book. If you're discounting that, you are subscribing to being ignorant. That is one way to subscribe to being ignorant, to not see that this sketch, the father with the glasses looking at him, is not what he was drawing in his book. This eagle in the crescent in the omega is not what he was drawing in his book. I've even found the thing with the man with his foot up on the stump. That's a meadow in the forest, and he's looking up. If you go here, a lot of you have heard of Nazca. If you haven't heard of Nazca, go watch Ancient Aliens, okay? Nazca, and it's designs in the big designs in the desert floor. Okay? The top of the hill here is a Nazca in the forest. There's a giant deer. There's a giant Grim Reaper. There's an Indian, a brave, with the feather coming out the top of his head. And there's a girl in a dress. And there's a boy. And he's looking down on the Spanish toy factory and the gate, the door to the schoolhouse, to the Spanish toy factory. Shelley. No. Shelley's got a few years on me. She's got 10 years on me. And Shelley's married. I don't pursue married women. That just leads to some crazy Mexican coming and flattening all the tires on your RV and your car and your truck, and you got 18 flat tires all of a sudden. No, I don't pursue married women. I don't pursue more than one woman at a time. Like I told one girlfriend, why would I want another girlfriend? One of them's enough trouble. Well, it was a guy named Rito Delgado who let the air out of all my tires. Okay? Crazy Mexican guy who in front of the sheriff held up his knife and he goes, "I'll get your balls off with his knife." And the sheriff did nothing to him. Okay? He's a Mexican. They can do what they want in America. They can come over here and whatever. But no, he didn't. No, he didn't. So, I know a lot of real cool Mexican people. I had a lot of Mexican friends in my California high school. Didn't have any problem with them. I have a problem when somebody comes over here, starts waving their flag and claiming America for Mexico. You want to come to America, be an American. I have one of my ancestors led the artillery, Major Daniel Flynn Chase. He led the artillery at Vicksburg, credited for the victory at Vicksburg. And he also fought in the Mexican War in the 1840s and stuff. I had 4 ancestors, all fought for the North. All fought. One of them fought with the Screaming Eagle, old Abe. Played the fife for the Eagle. The Eagle loved to hear him play Yankee Doodle. I'm writing a movie script about that. If anybody, I'm open to a live show, a reality show on the treasure hunt, or reality show on just the Clovis tombs, ancient archaeology type research in this place. There are lots of bizarre shots to get. Very, very, very pagan, bizarre shots. Very good settings for movie sets. You know what? As far as Trump, he hadn't done anything wrong. He hadn't done anything wrong. You got a lot of crooked people in the FBI that people don't know about the 9,000 indictments coming down, and there are people in the FBI selling our stuff, our uranium to it didn't go to Russia. It went to North Korea. the CIA in North Korea, they're like this. North Korea is a CIA operation to take down the United States. If North Korea is able to attack us, it was with the help of Hillary Clinton, and it's an attack on Donald Trump. Okay, I'll tell you that. Trump is just the regular guy. You can ask Toby about the CIA. I have nothing to do with them. I'm only involved with the civilian intelligence agency. And we keep tabs on that corrupt intelligence agency. Okay. The CNN, CIA, they're all the same people. Those major networks were started by them. It's all a lot of people haven't woke up to a lot of history's been hidden from them. You know, same people don't want you to know about these Clovis people. It's a Bush appointee, I know that. Or not Bush, it's a Trump appointee, or it's a lot of Obama appointees still in there, and that is the problem that we're having. And those are the 9,000 indictments. Hillary's wearing a GPS tracker on her right ankle. You'll notice her ankle brace. She hurt her ankle in October, and she's still wearing the ankle brace, or her toe. Yeah, you don't need an ankle brace really for a toe. So, whatever. I'm not getting there. I'm not going. That about the treasure, you know. Politics. I mean, you know, you people who worship politicians, be it the Democrats, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Hillarys, the Pelosi's, and them people, you're worshiping control freaks, and I really don't like control freaks. You know, as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're not breaking the law in my book. You know, control freaks run the county here. They seem to have an idea that you cannot occupy land that you own without permission from them. In my book, I have a God-given right. My Creator told me, if you own that piece of land, you have every right in the world to exist on it, to live on it, to build your own shelter on it, to have your own access to your water rights that are below it. You don't have to ask a government for permission to do any of your pursuit of life and happiness on your own land. That is none of their business. It is not their property. They do not have control over your rights, is what their problem is, and they want that control. And we don't go there. I don't give them that right. You know, you want me to wear your mask and to be part of your approved society. Sorry, I'm not going to clone myself to be somebody that some politician wants me to be. Politically, in a ballot, when you go and vote, when you go and vote, you have no vote to vote for control over me. You don't. I'm in control of myself. I make sure that I don't hurt anybody, that I don't kill anybody, that I don't harm anybody. I've never harmed a woman in my life. Never ever. You know, find one X that'll say I've hit her, and then get some evidence, any kind of evidence. Is none of it. I'm a very good guy. I don't impose things on other people. I don't steal from people. I don't go watching other people's Toby's solves to go and raid his solve. I'm watching his because I'm going. You're in the wrong place. I've got the right place. How far is it too far to walk? Well, one of there are several. Where Warm Water halts, there's another spring there. It's a 4.5 mile walk, and it's at the end of the rainbow. If you're going to find the end of his rainbow, you start at the other end of his rainbow. So it's the start of his rainbow. It's got a rainbow name. That's what led me into this area. Was I was looking for the trail to that rainbow name. I was looking near Poncha, and it came up with Pagosa. So, you know, so. And then when I looked up a place to camp, I got there and I looked up the name of the place I was camping, and it's the name of a place in Canada, which is why he wanted Canada on the map. The treasure wasn't in Canada, but there was a clue in Canada. When you're in the right place, you catch on to all the little subtle things, and they're very subtle things. So, only got 5 viewers. Wow. Does anybody have theirs saying there's more than 5? Because I know YouTube does a lot of lying and fake reporting. And I know I'm censored. They won't announce to people that I'm on here even. Wow. Now mine says 6 watching now. 126. Wow. Yeah, you know. See, so YouTube, I'm calling you out. You're a bunch of liars. You're part of that CIA group that I've been talking about. Yeah, mine tells me 6. 6. Yeah, there's a lot of people watching. And while I got 126 people on there, if somebody is very good at running a nonprofit organization and wants to get in on this and be close to, my search, but it's also running the organization and taking donations and be managing, these donations go to universities and stuff to send their students here to do the research. It'll put up a research facility and all that stuff. And I want to fix my thing just so I open this door here and tuck my blanket into there. I'll go in there. When you're really close to the treasure and know what's going on, and you know what's going on, the powers of life fight you harder. Oh yeah, well, it's telling me, it's only showing me 6 people. 6 people. It says Sarah McLaughlin, Mike M, Tin Man. He's a Bigfoot whisperer. He camps out with Bigfoot, he says. Pagosa Hot Springs, Mike Elm, Sarah, Mike Elm, Tin Man are the only people that are commenting that it'll show me are on here. So I'm going to try to refresh my computer. computer page and see what it says. It says 5 watching. So, yes, they are lying to me. YouTube, you're censoring me. Why? Why? I only got 5. You telling me I got 5 people watching when it's really 25 times more than that at least. So, and I can't see, Toby, if you're there. I can't see nobody. I see 3 people's names on my list of who is. They're not letting anybody else get their things to me. So now I know when I'm posting stuff to people that my comments are probably being blocked and they're not seeing me either. So that's a shame. 120. 6. Yep. Yeah, see, they got some of us. Some of us blocked. I don't know why they do that. They really don't want this to be known. And these Clovis tombs, if anybody of you know about the Masons and Illuminati, they're illuminated. They know the knowledge. It comes from the gnosis, the knowing, and so the Masons kind of fall in that realm, the of supposedly knowing, and and if I can't find anybody in this other realm, the archaeological realm and that stuff, to take recognition of these Clovis tombs and mammoth temples, then I'll probably I think about going to this Masonic site nearby and seeing what they know about it. And so I want to get a hold of it. I want to talk to some of the guys that do the rock work when they have rock slides and that they got to clear the rocks for the highway, and see if they've noticed any of these things and have avoided destroying them because they knew what they were seeing. Yet, if anybody says you're seeing it, oh, you're a crazy person for seeing shapes in clouds or shapes in rocks. Yes, I do see some that are a natural phenomenon, but there are plenty that have extreme evidence pointing to man-made, unnatural. Even the one sculpture of the guy, I call him Mr. Unnatural. And for those of you who don't know Mr. Unnatural, maybe a little Mr. Natural would help you see him. As Forrest talks about the chief, the guy who talks about the Indian goes in his teepee and talks to Jesus because the Indian can see, and a lot of you people can see, or if you're saying that you don't see these shapes in the rocks, I'm sure you have a whole lot of difficulty seeing or talking to your Creator. Because there are things, there are more than 3 dimensions. And, there's people talk about that, the quantum theories and stuff, the other dimensions. Our spirits are of another dimension. The stuff that that keeps all the atoms in their order. The universe is a mind, and we all share that mind. We're all tapped into it. We're all electromagnetically interconnected, and we are connected to the Earth. We are connected to our galaxy and our universe, whether you know it or not. That is how you can get a tiny little ant or mite that's able to think and know how to perform its life. How does that tiny little thing possess a computer to do what it does to get through its life and reproduce? It's because it is interconnected to the ether like Avatar, and our God is we're a supernatural is what we are. You're only what you think you are. And some of us have a lot of doubt in ourselves. If you want to find a treasure, he said it's going to be an omnipotent guru that finds it. And if you're going to find it, you got to play the part. So I changed my name to Omnipotent Guru. My titles on Facebook to Omnipotent Guru. So it means I'm playing the part. I'm not, you got to play the part. You got to wear the hat. I even found a rock with Indiana Jones on it, and he's holding up his sword, and in the split in the hat, one side of the hat is one Aztec figure, the other side of the hat's another Aztec figure. And I found that in nature. I said, I got to get me the Indy hat now. I thought that was something Forrest left there, because if you found this, you're the Indiana Jones of the treasure hunt, It's kind of... you don't see. You see the signs. You got to see the signs when they're in front. When they're right in front. It's like that was just a sign from God. It wasn't from Forrest or anybody. I'm able to read the signs in nature. Like Tin Man, he's a Bigfoot whisperer. I'm sort of an Earth whisperer. I can see, and sometimes. When you get to that tired state in the evening, when your lights are low, your eyes will see more stuff too. Yeah, and some of these pictures, people don't see anything. You got to zoom out, zoom in. It says in the poem, with marvel gaze. You're not going to see it if you only look at it for 10 minutes. Gaze, and it'll come out. You can tire your brain to see more shapes. Sleep deprivation will do it. Or you can go eat some of them mushrooms that are growing all over the Mammoth tombs. Don't eat more than 5 grams dried, because that's where they can become dangerous. So, well, you got to. If you're going to be like the chief that Forrest talks about in the new book, the Indian, who said that, I had his picture up here a minute ago, but he, about Jesus, there's a Kuna Parker, okay? When he says white man goes into his church house and talks about Jesus, but the Indian goes into his teepee and talks to Jesus. The Indian goes into his teepee and talks to Jesus because the Indian was eating peyote buds. Okay? You're going to have, if you want to see what a Forrest had, you may need to hallucinate a little bit. And some of the hallucinations are already there in the rock. You just got to open your mind up to seeing it. And if you're that blind, your imagination can't go there, I guess you don't understand why imagination is more important than knowledge. I switched back to my screen. I switched to a picture of the chief. Yeah, I have eaten them long ago, and yeah, and it is a religious experience. And some people do things like that, and they can't control themselves. It's all about self-control. If you're one of the people that let whatever you do take over, and you cannot put it down or escape it, then you got a problem. But some people are able to use things as a tool. Go watch a Graham Hancock video, and then tell me about hallucinating. Okay, you put me down, put down Graham Hancock too. If he's seen this, if he's seen these tombs, and I'm sure he'll do a video on it someday. But you people have your, if you want to find the treasure, you can't be closing doors. You can't be shutting this off. Or like Toby, there's nothing in Colorado. Nothing to see in Colorado. You're not going to see anything in Colorado. Don't look here. Ignore the elephant in the room. Go ahead and ignore the elephant in the room. Ignore the elephant in the room. You know, if that's what you're doing, you're ignoring the elephant in the room. He mentioned my elephant mask. Yes, I got the elephant mask because I found mammoths. And if you don't like the elephant mask, too bad. It's playing the part. I've found these Clovis people. I'm the first one greeting them in 14,000 years. Forrest, I'm sure, has done the same thing. He's probably met them. What do we got going on? All right, Bill, it's question time. Let us roll out the questions. Well, I'm only getting 3 questions out of 126, so I haven't seen many questions. Ask me why I'm wrong is not a question. And if you want questions answered, then you'll have to ask Ganesh. What are your questions? Do you have any mammoth questions? Never ignore the elephant in the room. Yeah, when I found these Clovis tombs, it's like, wow, those are mammoths. The unintended clue. Which book? In Too Far to Walk, there's an unintended clue on the map. There's an omega on the treasure area. If you look at the map in Too Far to Walk, where it says San Juan's, the U in Juan's is an omega. The other omega on the map is the U in Rocky Mountains.
So, ah. Um, yep. The upside down thing in the backwards, George Washington's portrait was backwards from what they printed on the dollar bill, was backwards from the original portrait. And many of the uh, things that some of the artwork that is in on the rocks is backwards, and the double blazes on the one rock is um, whew, my stomach's not feeling good. So, but the rock with the double blazes, that is if you turn it upside down, it's the cow udders and the cats, because he tied the cow's tail to the stool he was sitting on, and then so the cow yanked the stool out from under him, and he sees the cats and the cow udders upside down. He sees the cats and cow. So if you take the double blazes, the the middle fingers, those are cow udders. Yep. So, but now, what? How does this relate to the treasure chest? Pick my nose. Okay, so yeah, you've been waiting for me to do that on video. Okay, so who knows how this relates to the treasure chest? How does this relate to the treasure chest? What is another name for chest? Okay, nobody knows. It's a very, very simple question. Another name for chest. Another name for chest is trunk. The treasure was hidden in a trunk. So, yeah, this gets kind of fun with a. Yep. Yeah. It's so an elephant has a relationship to the treasure. Also, elephants are nature's treasure. If you go to his the art gallery, there's a Colombian mammoth by the pond, rearing up with his trunk way up in the air. And that is the there's a boom. Did he buy that? Did he put that mammoth in his gallery, um because he found a mammoth tusk? Or did he put it there because he found these mammoth tombs? He at some point he started having a great interest in the Clovis points and the mammoths, not just the American Indians. These people that are carved on the rock, they're not American Indians. These Clovis tombs, people don't understand. The Clovis are not considered American Indians, because what they find is, and I found it, is many of these figures have beards. They're depicted as blondes. They're blonde, pale-faced people here before the Indians. They were the Clovis people. The Clovis points, they've traced them back to France, that they originated from a race of people that was in France and stuff, you know? So, but most of North America was covered with the ice sheet. It didn't come down to this part of Colorado. I don't know why. You know, it's way up in the mountains, but it's more of a rainforest. Pangea. Yeah, the Earth is tilting. You know, it's just that I think the Earth is rotating. You know, so the shell, the things, everything slips around, and the North Pole seems to be moving away from us now, and that's, you know, so the ice will move over toward Russia. So just think of, you know, we're going to get our revenge on Russia, so don't worry. You know, Russia, I really love Russian people. I love all kinds of people. Especially my grandkids. They're my favorite people on the world. The Earth wobbles because it slipped. The wobbles will slowly slow down. But I think what happened was when the Earth shifted like this, you see, you got the Earth and most of the magma wants to pop out at the equator. And so when it tilted, the magma ring, you know, it's tilted. So the magma has to work its way back to be spread out around the equator. You know, and I think that's, you know, a lot of what causes, you know, one thing affects the other. You see, my eyes are through these two holes in the trunk. So, you people that think I should have it already, you're not seeing the decoys that I'm coming across. You're not seeing, and it took me a while to realize they were decoys. And now I see that, okay, that's a decoy, that's a decoy, that's a decoy. I got 2,000 decoys. So I'm into researching the Clovis tombs and the Mammoth temples until and hopefully finding the treasure in the meantime. But I'm gonna, you know, I want to do something about the Mammoth stuff. You know, it's something to do, and it's it's more valuable. It's all. I mean, the treasure chest is like this. You know, the Mammoth Temple can't fit on the screen. It's bigger than the treasure. So, you know, the treasures became a small item compared to the discovery. I hear my dog barking out there. Okay. So, anybody gonna ask any questions? Decoys. Well, yeah. Well, yep. You want to accuse me of being on the wrong place and not having to solve double blazes? Toby ain't even crossed the state line. Yeah. Yeah, I found too much stuff. And you people discounting me? I had friendlier hemorrhoids. Yeah, well, methodical, and his CIA, his straight-laced, walking the straight and narrow line and not venturing into other realms of imagination is Toby's downfall. He can't imagine what I do. He can't imagine what it's like to have yourself carved on the side of a mountain for 14,000 years, waiting for somebody to come along and go, hey, look at that elephant. He can't imagine what it's like for somebody to finally go, look, it's an elephant. Yeah. So, I'll bet Forrest is watching. Are you watching, Forrest? Yeah. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's on my group. I have a thing with my group that I'm telling a lot of my secrets. And so my group on Facebook, I tell myself, and I'm not trying to strike up conversation, interaction, you know. But most people, they want to go look under the toilet seat and see who's on the toilet. They don't want to knock and go, hey, is anybody in there? They just, they're just peeping under the toilet stall, kind of, at my group. They don't make comments. They don't interact. They don't participate. And I regularly go through my group, and at the bottom of the member list are the people that participated the least. And I remove those people from the group because they didn't participate at all, is what it is. Yeah. The focus is pretty distracting. There is so much. Oh, okay. Well, it's like all the. You open up a 5,000-piece puzzle box, and all of the pieces in the box are possibly the treasure. But you got to inspect each one before you find it. That's how many decoys there are. And it's such a big area, and there are so many symbols and tombs and targets that yeah, it's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming that you think, maybe I'll just be the archaeologist. And while I'm researching all these tombs and documenting it and stuff, I'll come upon the one with his treasure. I have some very good ideas to go looking at, but it's so secure that I don't have to worry about any of you because nobody's following me. Everybody thinks I'm full of shit. And you know what? Have you ever seen an elephant shit? Yeah. You ever seen an elephant take a pee? Gosh. Oh. It's like having the belly of a B-52 full of water and the doors open and it all just drops out. It's like Noah's flood when an elephant pees. Yeah. So, Now, we're gonna have a whole lot of fun here. Because what fun is hunting for a treasure unless you have some fun doing it, right? So, what we'll do, let's have some fun. Okay. Yes. We'll have some fun here. Don't worry. My boss. Well, that didn't work. Damn it. So, whatever. People don't like to have fun, do you? But I think I'm getting a little, I need some oxygen under this mask. Oh, it's full of smoke. Okay. That's funny. I just saw it on the other screen. There. So, if you want to find friend's treasure, follow the elephant in the room. And I think I'm about done, okay? Is that enough? Everybody's gone. I went for over 2 hours. This was fun. I'm sure you want to see the mammoth come back. Yeah, it says, what do we got? 4 watching. 4 out of, yeah. So, yeah, they don't, only people watching are probably ones that saw me announce it on Gypsy's Kiss blog there. Oh, the bumper, it's a cowl. It's the part in front of the windshield between the engine and the hood on a Model A. It's the cowl, it's a gas tank, actually. And it's like the dash of the car. It was found in the wood where the forest, the words W-O-O, the letters W-O-O-D are cut out of the forest. It's the Nazca-like thing, The word wood is cut into the forest. You see it on Google Earth. But, the Model A cowl was in there. I took it with me. I don't give people coordinates or tell them exact spots. I talk about the places, and anybody really has to be serious about it. The only one person I know, Daniel Drew Warner, he's been in my area searching and all that, and I knew he was, and he let me know, but because I don't want people coming around and sneaking behind my back. And trying to undercut me, cutting line on my solve that I worked hard for, the clues are all over the place. I mean, it's this area, and people don't understand once you've hit the part where you're into the drawings, you've left the poem mostly. Some of the things in the poem might repeat, but basically, when you reach the drawings, you've left the poem. You're in the drawing part. The end is drawing nigh, because you're in the drawings, and the poem is just not part of it anymore. I was thinking about making these into smaller mammoth ears. I could probably do that. Melt the rubber or sew it inside and make a seam and. But well, it's in the San Juans. I hear an elephant burp. Okay. So anybody else? Hey! Nobody else in here. There's 4 people watching. Nobody knew. Well. Yeah. Okay. I got to get out of this mask and breathe some oxygen. Oh, it's not the first time I've been called an elephant. I'm done. I talked enough. There ain't nobody on here. If you want to see some of those pictures, it's on the Forest Fen Fanatics on Facebook. Don't spell it FENN. Spell it FE Omega Attic. Because if you can't find it, the search won't show it to you unless you put the omegas instead of the N's. It's a secret group, kind of. You got to have that key to get there. You got to be wise to find the blaze. Have a good one, all. See ya.